Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's lesson. Let's get started with today's lesson objective. So, today we will explore the impact on ecosystems caused by environmental changes. All right, let's go ahead and look at our lesson success criteria for today. So, today I can predict the impact on ecosystems caused by environmental changes. All right. Let's go ahead and look at our vocabulary before we get into our lesson. So, our first vocabulary word is environment. So, an environment is the space, conditions, and all living and non living things around an organism. So, an environment, just anything that's around the organism. It could be the air, the humidity, the temperature, the grass, people, sounds, whatever the case may be. That is the environment. All right. Now, impact. What is impact? So, impact is to directly affect or change. So, if we're impacting something, that means we can see that change right away, right? We're seeing a direct change happening. Okay. All right. And then population. So, population are all the interacting members of a species in a single area. So, over here we have zebras. We might be interested in the population or all of the total number of zebras in a certain park. So, that is population. It is the interacting members of one species in a single area. Okay. Now that I know what a species is, let's talk about what is carrying capacity. So carrying capacity is the maximum population size that can be sustained by a given environment. So everything needs to eat, right? Everything needs something to be able to survive. If there is no more food available, then we can't keep that population alive. So carrying capacity is the most of this type of species that we can have. Before the environment becomes negatively impacted. So the carrying capacity is the maximum number of species that we can have in that given environment. And now let's look at what happens when we go past our carrying capacity. This is called overpopulation. So overpopulation is an increase in the number of individuals of a given species over what its ecosystem can sustain or what the ecosystem can keep alive, often with both direct and indirect effects on other organisms in the ecosystem. So if we have an overpopulation of something, that means, okay, there's too many of this type of species and the ecosystem is not able to keep them alive. There's not enough for everybody. Because there's an overpopulation of one species, that might affect another species. And we're going to get into that in that lesson right now. Okay. So now let's go ahead and look at environments. I'm going to go ahead and close this out for you guys. Okay, so living organisms can change environments, right? So that's really important to remember. Living organisms can change environments. It can be both good and bad. So over here we have a beaver. So beavers are known, they create their homes by using their teeth to cut down trees or little limbs and building dams, which will cause like rivers and streams to maybe stop flowing, maybe cause little mini lakes and ponds. And this could be a good thing because this might give the opportunity for fish to survive in these ponds, which then can increase food. It can also increase access to water for animals. So our beaver can directly change the environment. This could be beneficial for the environment. On the other side, we can also have a negative impact on the environment. So we have locusts, right? And locusts are a type of grasshoppers, and they eat leaves and plants. If we have a swarm or an overpopulation of locusts, that means they're eating a lot of these plants, which isn't leaving enough for other organisms in that ecosystem or in that environment. So locusts, overpopulation of locusts is actually negative. It's actually not good for that surrounding area. Okay, so now let's go into humans. So us as humans, we can impact and change the environment too. So couple common ways that we change the environment is just through our daily lives in cities, and just with what we have in modern society. So over here we see some cows, and we cows need a lot of space. They need room to graze, they need room to eat. But what generally happens is when we're raising livestock, and we raise livestock for beef, we raise livestock for dairy, for milk, we need to cut down some trees. We need to remove a lot of the species that are in that environment. that could cause a negative impact because other species in that environment now don't have food because their grass is being taken over by our cows that we use for our own human consumption, right? So that is one way that we impact the environment through farming. And so one thing that is really important to remember and that we're starting to get more information about, we're starting to see more practices is sustainable farming, which is where we plant some different plants to help sustain different species and environments. Another way that we impact our environments is when we build roads, right? So when we're building roads, we have to clear away some of the natural environment. We need to clear away trees, we need to clear away dirt, we need to clear away all of these things that other animals are depending on as well. And sometimes we'll see animals going across roads trying to get more food. We'll see decreases in populations. So, us as humans, we can affect the environment too. So, it's really important for us to be mindful about the changes that we're making in the environment and in ecosystems because they don't just impact us, they impact everything in that environment. They impact the plants, they impact the animals, they impact the birds, insects. So it's really important to be mindful of the changes and how they impact other organisms when we are making changes to environments. All right, let's go ahead and review our lesson objective. So, our lesson objective for today was that we explored the impact on ecosystems caused by environmental changes. So, remember, us as humans can change the environment as well. All right, thank you so much for joining me today, y'all, and I hope you had a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye.